And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today, we're going to be looking at a mock trade that was put up on Bleacher Report that suggests that maybe the Washington Commanders might be interested in Breece Hall. So we're going to be talking about if this would be a good idea and should the Commanders consider this. And so before we go ahead and jump into the content for today, I first wanted to remind you to hit that subscribe button, just like Jaden Daniels is going to be hitting Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, and a lot of receivers for many touchdowns this upcoming season. And so in exchange for hitting that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily Washington Commanders content. And so make sure you hit the subscribe, you hit that like button, you join the Washington Commanders Insider family as we talk nothing but Washington Commanders football. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the content for today. And so we are looking at should the Washington Commanders consider trading for Breece Hall. And so this comes from an article that I was looking at on Commanders Wire. And so if you click within this article, it's going to take you to another article, which is on Bleacher Report. And so in Bleacher Report, you got this writer that's suggesting that the New York Jets have 4 different teams that maybe would be interested in Breece Hall. Clearly, I think that we're linked to Breece Hall because of just what has kind of gone on with the running back situation, especially last year with what we faced, Brian Robinson Jr., those guys kind of wearing down. And I think that, look, there's been a lot of talk about the Washington Commanders going out there and maybe getting a running back in this upcoming draft. And so let's start here before we jump into, should the Commanders maybe trade for Breece Hall and what was mentioned. And so I just think with Brian Robinson Jr., I think that he's been a solid running back for the Washington Commanders. I do think that, look, he did wear down maybe last season. He only played in 14 games there. And so, here's a running back that just hasn't got over 1,000. Maybe this is going to be the year coming up. It is a contract year. He did improve with the touchdowns, with the 8 touchdowns, and his yardage per average did go up a little bit at 4.3. But it certainly seems like that the Washington Commanders might take a different direction in this upcoming draft. I really do feel like that you can get a 3-down back in this draft. And so, I think that for me personally, if I were to, or should the Washington Commanders consider trading for Breece Hall, I would say no, because in this article, it suggested that maybe the Jets would be interested in making the trade if we were looking to send over a 2025 4th-round pick and Luke McCaffrey for Breece Hall. And so when you look at Breece Hall, you look at his production. Honestly, I think that it's really kind of gone down since really year one. I think that, look, he started off very well. He missed some time due to an injury. He came back. And it seems like to me, when I've looked at some of the Jets games, it looks like that his role is kind of diminished. And I'm not sure that you want to take on a running back that really has had that type of injury this early in his career. I get it's his 3rd year. He played 7 games in 2022, 17 in 2023, and came back with 16 in 2024. But it seems like that with him, he seems to lose steam at the end of the season as well. And so he had 5 touchdowns in last season. And then with receiving touchdowns, this was his worst season with 3 touchdowns and 76 targets. And so, I think that the Washington Commanders should not make this trade. I think that if this were, a real situation, I think the Washington Commanders could do a lot better. And personally, I think what the Washington Commanders should really focus on is going out and getting a 3-down back in this upcoming NFL draft. And I just think of Omarion Hampton. Like, I think that if you have a player like Omarion Hampton who is available, I think that you take him. And I do think that, look, if it does present itself either in round 1, 2, maybe even 3, 4, I don't know which round it is, but I think the Washington Commanders will take a running back that is going to be a 3-down back. I really do think that. And so I think that, look, Omarion Hampton might be number 1 for me based off the draft profile that we've done and just how exceptional that he is on tape. And really, I mean, he's not finished like as far as being a finished product, but man, he's close to being it. And just like we've talked about with a lot of these NFL draft prospects, I think that they have to sharpen up some things. And certainly, like one of the things that I think that they talked about with him is just becoming a little bit better as a pass blocker. And that's something that I think that you just you continue to grow into that. I think especially when you get to the NFL with the way that the defenses are and just the way that they're complex and the way that they try to fool you and stuff like that, like he's a willing pass blocker. And that's why I'm like, look, you have got to take this guy because he's willing to go out there and he's willing to meet that linebacker or that opposing blitzer and get them. It's just a matter of him understanding reads and concepts at the NFL level. So I think he's going to be fine with that. And I don't care about the fact of him not necessarily being a home run hitter, and especially any of these 3-down backs that the Washington Commanders could get. I think that if you can get a guy on the field that you can have for 3 downs that can really be versatile as a pass catcher and then a runner, like I think that you have something, because I think that, success really leaves clues. And I think that now you're seeing maybe the teams coming into this draft are going to look at what the Philadelphia Eagles did this last season with going out and getting Saquon Barkley. I think that you're going to try to see, or you're going to see teams try to mimic that, and that's go out there and get a 3-down back. And so I do think the Washington Commanders would do something like this. Omarion Hampton makes a lot of sense with everything that he can do. And I really do think, too, he has some untapped potential as a receiver. And so I like that about some of these running backs that could be 3-down backs. And so going back to the original point here, should the Washington Commanders consider trading for Breece Hall? I think absolutely not. I just think that you would be getting a guy that, look, I think that you would still have to go out and you would still need to get a running back that is going to be, I think, the future piece for you. I'm just not sold on the fact that, look, his role to me is kind of diminished a bit with the New York Jets. And I'm not sure that even coming over to the Washington Commanders would be something that would really revamp that. Even though I think he would be solid with this, I think he would have a real chance to get over 1,000 yards. But it would all depend on the fact that he would have to, one, stay healthy, and two, what is it going to look like from the offensive scheme standpoint? Because that is another question that I wonder what we would do from a running back standpoint, especially if we do get a 3-down back. Are we still running, some more split time things? Are we, how does the playbook kind of change there? That's something that I'm curious to see what does happen once the Washington Commanders do get, maybe a 3-down running back that is reliable here. And so anyway, let me know in the comments here, what do you guys think? And once again, this is a mock trade, so this isn't anything official. This was just a writer suggesting that there were 4 teams that might be interested in Breece Hall. Just to let you know, it was the Chicago Bears. That was a team. You had the Cleveland Browns maybe being interested in Breece Hall, the Dallas Cowboys, and again, the Washington Commanders. And I think that all those teams, certainly, including the Commanders, would be in the market for a running back. But I just don't think trading off an asset for Breece Hall would be the smartest thing, especially with Luke McCaffrey. Like, I still believe a ton in Luke McCaffrey. And honestly, with us getting Wes Welker over here as a personnel analyst, like, I think that Luke McCaffrey is actually set to have a really good year this year. And so I'm kind of throwing that out there. I know there's probably not a lot of people saying that, but I do think that Luke McCaffrey is going to be very good this upcoming season. And so I definitely would not want to trade him for Breece Hall. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking. And look, as we always say around here, go Commanders, and I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.